We're live.
Awesome. We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. And we just want to make sure you guys can hear us. So we're going to get started, but feel free to leave a comment in there if you can hear us and we're looking good. We are so excited. We are so thrilled and so excited. I'm Natalie Frank. I am one of the co-founders of the Rising Tide Society. I am the head of community at HoneyBook, and I'm an entrepreneur and business owner just like all of you. And I'm super excited to be here with Lara.
I'm so pumped, guys. I'm so pumped. We were talking before that I kind of have chill bumps because this is such an excited group and a group of people from all over. And how cool is that we all get to meet together today from all across the world? So I'm pumped. I'm Lara. I'm a mom to three. I have three kiddos that are currently in the bath right now. So if you hear any screaming, they are not hurt. They are probably just mad about not having the soap first. I'm also the CEO of Cultivate What Matters, and we help people to do just that, to cultivate what matters most in their lives through a tool that we use and love called the Power Sheets Goal Planner. And I'm so pumped, guys. So excited for what we're going to do today.
Yes. And before we even dive in, I want to go over some housekeeping items just to get everybody on the same page, and also give you guys an opportunity to ask questions, chime in. This is an opportunity to support you as a community and for you guys to get access to this incredible woman who is the master of all things goal setting. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping items. So the first is that we will be doing a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So we want you to ask your questions. Feel free to ask them in the section that literally says ask a question, and it's right down here, and you can vote on other questions. So if you go there to ask yours but you see someone else asked one very similar, just upvote it, and that way it pops up to the top for us and we can kind of sort through them easily at the Q&A section. Also, for all of you who are looking for a transcription of the webinar, we've had a lot of requests from members of our community who are hearing impaired, deaf, just for any reason. We've got you covered. We will be this webinar for transcription afterwards, and then it should be available in about a week. So what we will do is update the replay link with transcription so you have access, and feel free to share it with anyone in your community who perhaps didn't attend the webinar because they didn't think it would be accessible. We've got their back, we're working on it, and we'll have transcription available in about 7 days. Also, we want to encourage you, if you haven't yet, to download the Instagram challenge guide and join us over on Instagram after the webinar. So this is your chance to be taking advantage of these amazing prompts throughout the week to just communicate your goals and what you're working through as you go through these guides, and also to cheer one another on. So the hashtag Best Goals 2019, that's where it's at. That's where we're hanging out. And both on all of our accounts, we've been trying today to hop on and cheer you guys on. And we've seen some incredible content, some incredible, visions for where you guys want to be when you're 80, and, what really matters to you and what doesn't. And just getting to know you on that level has already been amazing. So make sure you're taking part in the challenge on Instagram as well. Now, I'm really excited because I'm pretty sure that, Lara, goal setting is your thing, and this is something you care a lot about, and we're so lucky to have you with us. So I just want to kick it off by asking a very simple question. Now that we're into the new year, what is sort of the thing that you're hearing from people when it comes to goal setting?
So many things. So I would love for all of you that are listening, give me a little shout out, little emoji, action, whatever, when you hear something that sounds like you. So we're hearing a lot from people that I feel behind. You feeling that? Anybody feel like, okay, it's January, what's today? January 14th. So clearly it's too late for me to set goals, right? So we're hearing that. And we're also hearing a lot of you feeling like you are overwhelmed, that there's so much to do. Okay, yeah, I see the comments now. Yes, that's you. Okay, great. I think we might have broke Crowdcast real quick. Yes. So we are feeling behind. We are feeling like there's so many goals that we want to achieve. Where do we even start? How do we do that? Maybe you feel like you have no idea where to start. There are so many different choices. Like what method of goal setting do I do? You're even considering going goal-less this year. Anybody doing that? You think resolution's not my thing. So yes, a lot of you are saying you're feeling overwhelmed. Yes, Sabrina, you said I didn't even set goals this year. Awesome. Okay. Maybe you are feeling like you have so many goals you want to achieve and you just don't know how. So maybe you're not so overwhelmed, but you just don't know how. Like, what is the first tactical step that you take to even achieve that goal that you really care a lot about? Or maybe this last year has been really good for you. Maybe the year was great. You just want to keep it going. So maybe you're frustrated about where you are right now. Maybe you're frustrated about last year, feeling like you didn't make progress on the things that really mattered to you. Or maybe you're feeling great, no matter where you are right now. I just want everybody to take a big deep breath. Because today can be your fresh start. This is your fresh start. And I don't think that you would be here watching this live class with us and taking your time to do this if you didn't also believe that in some way, that this is your fresh start. So as a creative entrepreneur, you really want to use your time well this year, no matter what you're feeling about the last year, where you are right now. I know that because you're here. Y'all, and it's so cool to see so many friends from all over the world. Hi, Anna from Poland. Hi, everybody. This is so cool. So I think we're all in this together. We can all say, yes, we want to do this life better. We want to do this year well. We want to use our creative gifts really well this year and use them intentionally, pointing them all towards creating a life that we love and serving other people at the same time.
I love that. I feel like this is something that I also struggle with. Just the fact that I want to build a business that is financially successful for my family, but I also really care about the impact behind it, like serving others well, serving my clients well, in this case, serving my community well. And I know that a lot of people watching this, if they're a part of either Cultivate, HoneyBook, or Rising Tide, they share those values. They share the values of wanting to make an impact with the work that they're doing. And so I would love to know too, like, how can goals kind of help with that? And what are we going to talk about in today's webinar?
Yes. So, it's really easy to do life by accident. I feel you. I feel like there are lots of times when I've gone through the motions with life. Anybody feeling that way? You feel like, I just feel like I'm coasting. I'm just kind of bouncing off of different things. Like one thing happens and I react to, I don't know. You just feel like you're all over the place. And for me, it's funny you said at the beginning, Natalie, that you think, well, you're an expert at this. You're a goal person. Let me tell you, friends, if we've never met before, I am not a goal person. I am not innately someone that likes goal setting. In fact, the words goal setting give me the heebie-jeebies. It makes me feel like, no, pressure. I don't need any more of that in my life. And I don't know if y'all are feeling this, but I feel like goal setting to me sounds like it's just going to be another to-do list, right? It feels like I'm just going to be adding things to my already full plate. No, thank you. So I will tell you what we're going to do today is not that. We are not going to be adding more to your already full plate. We're going to take things like 20 steps backwards and ask some really big picture questions to help you uncover the right goals for you and your season. Not the right goals for everybody else's life to make you look like someone else, but the right goals for your particular talents and gifts and the season of life that you're in right now. So that's where we're going to start.
I love it. Okay, so in starting, what are some of our first steps to setting really good goals?
So this is where the magic really starts to happen. Are y'all ready? Yes, and everyone's saying yes to the heebie-jeebies. That's where we're not going to go today. No, thank you. Are you ready? Because I'm going to ask you what I call the golden question. And this question is something that I literally come back to it every single day of my life. And I didn't do that always. I really, like I said, I felt like I was living by accident. I was trying to do things because someone else did them, or I saw that she had more success than me. And so I thought I need to do it like her. And we all know where that ends up. Nowhere good. So I started to ask myself what I'm about to ask you. Here we go. Where do you want to be when you're 80, 90, 100 years old? Just in the big picture, where do you want to be in the big picture? And if that's a difficult thing for you to imagine right now, imagine the opposite of it. Where do you not want to be? Now you might think to yourself, well, I don't want to be, like dead by 80. But I really want you to think about your lifestyle. Where do you not want to be? What's not going to be important to you then? And what is going to be important to you then? So I've asked this question of thousands of women across the world, thousands of men too. What's going to be important to you? And usually those answers circle around relationships. We think, what's going to be important to me really is whether it's cultivating the hearts of your kids or the impact you had on people. Like you mentioned, Natalie, the great impact that your businesses have on the world. That's what matters to you in the big picture. It's not about dollar signs. It's about what we call in our business the profit of people, of affecting people's lives, and that multiplication effect that has on the world, that matters. So I would love to hear from everybody right now. What is something that is going to matter to you in the big picture? And then I would love to hear what's something that is not going to matter to you in the big picture. What is not going to matter to you? So again, when I've asked this question, usually things like social media come up as something that's not going to matter. And I'll give you one word of caution here. Social media is not the enemy. In fact, a lot of us, we wouldn't even know each other or be here right now if it wasn't for the gift of social media. So social media may be on your list of things that is not going to be important to you in the big picture, but think about what is it in social media that like rubs you the wrong way. Because social media, for example, can be a really wonderful, beautiful, powerful tool when it's used well. But sometimes, as we know, it can become a distraction. So I love these answers. Lisa, you said Instagram follower numbers won't matter. That's right. So good. Sammy, you said what will matter is my impact on people and legacy. Sarah, my to-do lists won't matter. Amen, friend. Teresa or Tessa, sorry, you said health will matter. Keep those answers coming, friends. Keep them coming. So answer those two questions at the end of your days at 80, 90, 100, or at the end of your career. What's going to matter to you? And then what won't matter to you?
I took a little bit of time today and actually answered this question on my own Instagram as part of the challenge. I'm also taking part in it, co-hosting it and taking part in it as an actual member, because it is so important. And I sat back and I really thought about it. And it's funny. I love that you mentioned relationships, because for me, it came back to my relationship with my husband and this little bun in the oven here. And, the dreams that I hold for my marriage and the dreams that I hold for being a mom, and welcoming the hardship and like welcoming the struggle that lies ahead, but also acknowledging that that's what matters most to me in my life right now, like seeing this life that, is built on family and faith and just leaving a legacy behind. And what's powerful about that is when you do concentrate on where you want to be when you're 80, those things that we stress about every single day. You mentioned, someone mentioned Instagram followers. I've been there. Instagram engagement, members on an email list, you name it. Like these small metrics that still count towards the bigger ones in a grand scheme, building the legacy, that's part of it, but that we can sometimes prioritize above the things that really do. And we can sometimes lose sight of, what really matters for the daily things that don't. And I found myself just kind of digging deep and not being super happy with some of my own priorities and some of the things that I personally have placed weight on over the years above the things that when I look at 80 years old truly matter in my life. And I had the same experience with my brain surgery when I went through that experience. And, just a year ago, recognizing like I gave my time away so freely to things that didn't matter. And I didn't guard my time for the things in my life and the people in my life that I really, really believe in and want to intentionally invest in. And so I think that's so powerful. So I don't want to ramble more, but what's next? Like, what are sort of the next things that we should do?
I just have to say thank you for sharing that story too. Y'all know, like if you heard Natalie's story and seen her change and transformation, it's funny, I was thinking about this a lot today as it relates to this question, because I think what this question does for us, this golden question of where you want to be in the big picture, is it gives you perspective. It helps you to say, okay, if that's what's important to me in the big picture, what am I doing about it today? Or what can I cross off my list that does not get me to that place in the big picture? It gives you so much perspective. And I think about these life-changing experiences, like for you, the brain surgery, that whole experience for you. I mean, none of us ever want to have to experience something like that, right? But on a micro level, asking that question allows us a peek into the blessing of things like that it really does shift your perspective. And it is such a blessing in the storm when you go through something. I mean, I think about, for me, like deaths in the family or near-death experiences, like scary things, loss, miscarriage, whatever it is that I've gone through in my life. Those are always reset points of saying, okay, wait a minute. How am I using the gift of the time I've been given, the resources I've been given, the creative gifts, the blessing of even social media for good? So I'm really excited for all of you to ask that question. And I love your example too, Natalie, of letting that answer sink in and say, you know what? There are some things I feel restless about and to let that change a little bit. So next from here, I want to tell you a little story. A million years ago, I was a personal trainer in New York City, and I had a client that came to me, and he came in, he said, I would like to lose 20 pounds because that's what I weighed in college. Now, dear friends, How far do you think that got him? Ain't nobody going to get motivated by a goal of losing weight to get back in your college skinny jeans. And so I worked with him on setting a goal that was connected to something that really mattered to him, not just a goal born out of guilt. So when you join this webinar, we told you we're going to let go of the guilt-free, guilt-filled resolutions. Guilt-filled goals are about shame. They're about things that you feel like you should do to keep up or to realize some unhealthy standard. That's not what we're doing here. When we look at the big picture and we connect what we are doing today, we start to see a different type of goal emerge. So my dear client came to me, told me he wanted to lose 20 pounds. And I said, what matters to you? And we went through this process that we're doing right now of what's going to matter to you in the big picture. And we changed his goal from I want to lose 20 pounds to get in my college skinny jeans to I want to live a long and healthy life so that I can walk my daughter down the aisle. Y'all, that motivated him. Because, and here's the thing, not only did it motivate him because it was something that was connected to what mattered to him, but how many times have you messed up on a goal? Maybe you've done it already here on January 14th, and you've jumped ship. Anybody feel like you have messed up or you have not made perfect progress and you jumped ship? This is your protection from jumping ship, is when your goal matters to you. It does not matter how many times you fall down because you're going to get back up. And that's what happened to him. Did he make perfect progress on goals? No, he didn't. There were many days where he wanted to eat chocolate cake. And so he ate his chocolate cake. But he would get up and he would fall down 7 times. He'd get up 8 times. That's what this is all about, is setting goals that matter to you so much in the big picture that no matter what happens or how many times you fall off the bandwagon, because you're gonna, you get back up. So the next thing I want you to do is, you've probably heard of SMART goals. So I think, and again, I'm not a goal person, people, so I don't even know what SMART goals stands for. I think it's specific, measurable, something realistic, something. But time and time again, SMART goals fail. And here's why, because they're missing one key component, and that is heart. So I can set a SMART goal to run a 5K, and I can set all the perfect action steps I want to. I can put it in a beautiful bullet journal and write it all out and make Instagram posts about it. But if that goal does not matter to me in the big picture, I am not going to take action on it. So that's what we're going to do next, is connect that big picture of where you want to be to a SMART goal. We're going to combine the SMART and the heart elements into what I call cultivated goals, because cultivate means to prepare for growth. It means to prepare the soil or the things that you already have in your life for good new growth. So when you combine those two elements, that's when you really find the secret sauce. So Natalie, I would love to hear from you if you're willing to share something about your why. What is your why? My client's why was he wanted to honor his daughter and had that picture in his head of walking her down the aisle. What is that for you?
Yeah. So, okay, it's a tough question, but I'll give you a really honest answer. I was raised by my mom, and it was just my mom, my sister, and I growing up here in Annapolis. Amazing single mama. And she really empowered me. So from the time I was really little, my mom would say things to me like, you have potential and there is nothing you cannot achieve if you go after it. And just, those little things that we hear oftentimes, but the way my mom said it to me, not just when I would succeed, but actually more importantly, when I would fail, whether it was failing at school or being the worst lacrosse player on the team. And even truthfully, really a terrible athlete. My mom, always empowered me, always encouraged me, and just pushed me to be the best me, not to be the best one on the field or the best student in the class, but to be the best version of me with whatever capabilities that I was given. And that really, really spoke to me at a young age. And it made me realize when I stepped into business, just how many people don't feel empowered in business and don't feel supported. And they don't have that community that I had with my church, that I had with my mom and our family, that even though she was a single mom, she built a community around us. She built aunts and uncles and grandparents and neighbors and people that surrounded me and lifted me up and empowered me also. So with all that being said, my why really gets to the heart of empowering people to be the best version of themselves. And that doesn't mean being the best that means being the best version of themselves, whether they are struggling with, a chronic illness, going through a brain surgery, trying to overcome something in their life, financial hardship, any of it. My why is to empower others. And Rising Tide's, mission from the very beginning was to empower creative entrepreneurs, through education and through community. And what's really cool about this is we talk about this a lot, actually, at the office at HoneyBook with Rising Tide, and just thinking about how each of us, all of us watching today, from all the way in Hong Kong, Poland, to Nashville, to Baltimore, all of us have a why and all of us have a mission, but we don't often communicate it in our businesses. So it's in the guide for tomorrow, but I do want to give a huge shout out to this mission statement tool that the team at HoneyBook created. It's totally free to do. You can just fill it out, but it also helps you to think about this mission statement and thinking about crafting one for your business that's one sentence, that's easy to communicate, that doesn't ramble on for 10 minutes like I do every time I get heated and excited about my passion and my why and my purpose. It makes it work nice. I can't help it. I really can't. But I do want to give it a shout out. So if you do check out in the guide, and you're working on crafting your why and your mission, it'll be there to help you.
That is so helpful. Y'all, isn't that amazing that they created that tool for us for free too? I hope you share that with your friends too. Because I think that's what happens when we feel like we're going through the motions. A lot of the time it's because we have not taken the brave step to define where we're going. Because many times, and maybe y'all are feeling this, you feel like, I don't want to commit to goals because what's that gonna make me do? Like, if I commit to this goal, am I gonna have to do it for all of my life? This is not in my notes, so I'm just going to give you a little point of freedom here, which is no, you don't. Our goals, they grow and they change over time and through the seasons, just as we do. And so when you set these goals, just remember, invite yourself to refresh them every 3 months. In the Power Sheets Goal Planner, that's what we do. Every 3 months, you have an opportunity to refresh your goals, because it is not realistic for you to set a goal at the beginning of the year and then feel like you have to do the exact same thing to make that goal happen all year long. Our brains are really geared towards 90-day windows. It's brain science. Every 90 days, we refresh our goals because our brains can't focus on something for more than 90 days. So I hope that helps. Just a little side point is, do you have to commit to your goals for all of time? No, and you shouldn't. You should refresh them. So Natalie, I would love to hear something else we do in Power Sheets process, and something that we've invited you guys as a community to do too, is to write out a list of things that you're saying yes and no to. Things that you're saying yes and no to. Have y'all done this yet before? Maybe you're a Power Sheets user, maybe you've done it just in life before. So I would love to share just a few ways to do this. So the way you spend your time says a lot about you. And if you have a list of the things that you're saying no to in your life, and I was about to pull mine up so you could see it. When you write out a list of the things that you're going to say no to and the things you're saying yes to in the year, it helps you to make decisions. You get to decide what you say yes and no to this year. And yes, there are some things that you have, which are circumstances that cannot change, but for the most part, you do have a lot of choices that you're going to be presented with this year. So Natalie, I would love for, just as an example, and as I find my list, tell us something that's on your yes and no list this year.
Okay. All right. I've got it for you.
If y'all have things, tell us in the comments.
Yes. And also, yes, please share with us in the comments. What are you saying yes to this year? And what are you saying no to this year? So 2 big things I'm saying no to. The first is worrying about things I cannot control. Oof, I take it on. I mean, whether it was, going through fertility treatment, I thought, once I get pregnant, then I will be able to X, Y, Z. And my sweet friends said to me, once you get pregnant, there's a whole nother list of things you're going to worry about that you can't control. And then once that baby is out, there are a whole nother list of things you're going to worry about that you can't control. So that is on my list, saying no to worrying about the things I can't control. And I think another one for me is saying no to comparing myself to others. I put this on almost every year. And I don't know if I'll ever get to a place where I truly can take it off the list, if I'm being really honest, but I have to hold myself accountable to not looking at other people as a metric for comparison, but instead looking at other people as my community to encourage and elevate and to support, because that's what I want to believe that every day I'm doing. And yet my heart is human like everyone else's. And sometimes I get insecure, and sometimes I have a tendency to look around and be like, well, she's crushing it. She just launched a book. She's doing this thing. She's doing that thing. He just accomplished that. So this year, I want to continue to say no to comparing myself to other
Mm.
people. And then what I'm saying yes to in exchange for some of those things. The first is being grateful every single day for the gifts that I have in my life. Gratitude for me is one of the things that has gotten me through a lot in my own experience. So always putting that at the forefront. And then making an effort every single day to spend 5 minutes encouraging other people. So sometimes when I look inward and I focus on what I'm not doing or what I'm not accomplishing or how I'm falling behind, it's so easy to actually flip that switch, turn it around, and look at those other people that are doing great things and encourage them and actually step up and cheer them on. And it's amazing how that can just flip our mindsets, just change the way that we're looking at things. And for me, those are two examples on either side.
So good. When we say yes to something, it means we're saying no to something else, right? So I love everything you guys are sharing in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, please share anyway, write your stuff down somewhere. And another tip here is that it's one thing to think about the things that you're saying yes and no to, but that's why this challenge that Rising Tide Society has created with us has been so helpful. Is you got to get it out of your head and put it on paper or share it with the world so that you can start to do something about it. But when you say no to something, you are saying yes to something better. It also works in reverse. I'm going to say that again, just so you let it sink in. When you say no to something, and again, no is usually a scary word. We don't like to say no. We feel like no is a scary, disconnecting word. We feel like we're going to have to disappoint people, or people will think that we aren't super men or women if we can't do it all, right? Have y'all felt that way? You feel like, oh, Lara, don't tell me to say no. No's hard. we think we just have to say yes to everything, but where does that leave us? I just want to solidify this for you. Where does it leave you when you say yes to everything? Anybody?
Exhausted, burnt out.
Burned out, exhausted, completely spread thin, not feeling like you're getting a whole lot of good things done. You feel like you're getting a lot done, but the only thing that's done really is you. Yes. Okay. Everybody's on the same page as us. So when you look at your list, that's why these lists are so, so important. When you say no to one thing, you're saying yes to something better. If you need encouragement to say no to something, just think, what am I saying yes to actually in this? So on my list of things, I have my big list right here of my yeses and my nos. But one of my nos is, well, gosh, I have a lot of them. One of my no's is growing a comfortable life over a faithful life. So one of my goals this year is a no spend year. And it is what it sounds like. It means not spending money on things that I don't need or things that are there to fill a void where I could fill it in the right places. So saying no to growing a comfortable life over a faithful life. And I'm saying yes to the individual needs of each of our sweet kiddos, which means slowing down. It means, when I'm saying yes to that, it means I'm saying no to a lot of other work things that are waste or unnecessary so that my brain and my heart can have time to sit down with them on the floor. And I did one this morning. Y'all might have seen it. I played with Legos before I got on this webinar with my little buddy Joshua, and I got really, really enthusiastic about monster trucks because that's what makes his heart tick. But thank you guys for sharing. This is so good. Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts? What are some things on your yes and no list? Let us know.
So many good answers here. I love Lynn. She just said yes to saying or to valuing myself and my talents more. No to debt. I think that's a big one. You mentioned, spending. I do feel like we have a tendency to spend money on things sometimes because of this world we live in, when we see other people doing it or we see, the latest and greatest. And sometimes I do this too. So I love that. No to debt.
And something too, maybe you're watching, you're thinking, I thought this was all supposed to help my business. Let me just tie it all together for you. Every single one of these things that we have talked about today. So far we've gone over looking at the big picture, making sure that you're doing things and spending the time that you've been given here on this earth looking at what's going to matter to you in the big picture and what's not going to matter to you. We have also talked about having a smart goal that has heart, goals that are connected to something that really matters to you, and then being really smart about those and breaking them up. And now we're talking about our yes and our no list. Do you think, I'm going to ask you a silly rhetorical question. Are you ready? Do you think that these things are going to help improve your work performance? The answer is an obvious yes, of course, because, I mean, there's so many ways you could go with this. When you're focused on what matters to you in the big picture, you're spending your time well and you become more effective in the right things. Whether you're a photographer, an artist, a writer, no matter what you do, when you are doing things that fuel you and fire you up, people are going to catch on to that. Our unofficial office motto in our office is, if you're not excited about it, nobody's going to be excited about it. So if we are doing things that are deeply connected to our why, like obviously, like Natalie is such a great example, right? Like you see how passionately she loves on you guys and she loves on this community. And you know what? It grows because of that. When we nourish the things that matter in our lives, our businesses, our marriages, your family, whatever it is, they're gonna grow just like a plant, right? So I just wanted to tie all that together for you, that do these things affect your bottom line? Do they affect your ability to help people with the gifts you've been given? 100% yes. And the alternative, though, you could keep on doing the same things you've always done. You could keep getting the same results you've always gotten. You could keep staying burned out. You could keep focusing on things that don't matter to you in the big picture. Where's that going to get you? You know? So that's why I'm really excited that you guys are all doing this with us.
I love it. So is it time to set some actual goals?
Oh yeah, it is. It's time to set some goals. I feel like we need a little dance party right now. Get that baby moving, right? It is time to set some goals. So we are going to start to lay some groundwork for formulating our cultivated goals. And it's not rocket science, friends. Remember, you have permission to change your mind. You have permission to switch these goals up tomorrow if you want to, or every season. Don't feel like you're going to be totally stuck. I will also say we have an epidemic of perfectionism. And I am an Enneagram 1. Like, I know all about this perfectionism thing. How many Enneagram 1s are out there? Your goals don't have to be perfectly worded, but I'm just pushing you in this direction, because the alternative to not setting some really good cultivated goals that have your big picture view in mind, that help you to say yes and no to the right things, the alternative is going through the motions. And I know you don't want to do that. So you're going to write down some goal ideas first. Just throw some goal ideas out, guys. Just throw in like spaghetti or splatter paint against the wall. Do you remember doing that as a kid? It's really fun. And that's the same feeling you should have when you do this. That's why I say I'm not a goal person, but the way we do it, it's so much fun. It should be fun. Making progress on things that matter to you is super fun. So I would love to hear, what are just some ideas? And maybe you've already set your goals. That's fine. You can tell us what your goals are. But from the things that we've looked at, just look over all that you've written so far, all that you've discussed, whatever. What are some ideas you have? I'm going to show you my goal ideas that I wrote down. I started this process in November. Just so you can kind of see like how this morphed. And typically we start with a whole lot of ideas, right? Does anybody feel that way? When you started thinking about goals, like here's my goal ideas and my power sheets for 2019. So I had all these things, everything from my no spend year to
running a marathon. Is that what I see? No.
Oh, wait, maybe no. I am not
thriving. Oh. I legitimately am like, wow, that's a really intense goal.
Then I have everything from like keep the car clean, because it's like the chicken nugget mobile.
Oh my God, I love it.
Everything. So the point is, throw all your ideas out, right? Throw all your ideas out. And then we're going to start to sort through them, and we're going to simplify your list. So it's okay if your list has tons of things on it. I love these thoughts you guys are sharing. So Megan, hi, you said set solid boundaries so that my staff knows what is expected of them. So good. Anna, you said to write a book about motherhood and love. That's wonderful. That's
amazing.
Okay. Oh, yes. So good. And you guys are funny. Can I write your goals for you? Can I tell you that I got a C in handwriting in second grade? I think that's so funny. Okay, so good. Jerry, you said to have people come to my house. Yes, so good. Elise, one networking event each month, Tuesdays together. That's awesome. So many good ideas. So keep those coming. Write your big list of goal ideas, and then we're going to simplify them. We're going to sort through them. And here are some great questions for you to ask about your goals. Once you get your big list, you can always come back to this webinar too and click on the replay if you want to like pause here for a minute and then come back and answer these questions, but jot these questions down. You're going to ask, will this goal help me to cultivate what matters? Another way to ask that is, will this goal help me to get to the big picture? Is that going to help me, right? Um, the next question is, will this goal help me to get to where I want to be when I'm 80 years old? So those are both basically the same question. Where do you want to be in the big picture? And is this goal going to help you to make progress on that? This next question is really important. Is this goal going to help other people? Because if it's just going to help you, it may not really be worth your time, right? Is this goal going to help other people? Does this bless somebody in some way? Does this mean I'm going to get my talents out there and use these gifts I've been given, whether, again, it's photography or writing or art or whatever it is? And then the most important question is, why do I want to make this goal happen? Am I desiring this goal for the right reasons, or am I striving for perfect or for her life or for somebody else's measure of success? So I'm going to recap those. Ready? Number one is, will this goal help me to cultivate what matters? Is it going to help me to get to where I want to be when I'm 80, right? Or 90 or 100, whatever your goal is there. Is this connected to my big picture? So that's question number one. Question number two, is this goal going to help other people? And question number three, why do I want to make this goal happen? Give yourself a little heart check here, because there have been many times when I have looked at goal ideas on my list and I think to myself, okay, if I'm really being honest here, it's because she is doing motherhood this way and I think that I should do it like her. And I will also say that there are some really wonderful things about healthy comparison, about seeing someone who is doing something well and you learning from that person. So that's one thing. Like, I love Sally Clarkson. She's like the coolest mom to me, and I want to be like her. But I'm not going to set a goal out of comparison to like rise to her standard. I'm going to do it my way. So number one, will this goal help me to cultivate what matters? Two, is this goal going to help other people? And three, why do I want to make this goal happen? So I'd love some answers. Tell me the answers to some of those questions, especially the answer to question number one. When you look at your goal ideas, will these goals help you to cultivate what matters? Are they connected to something that really matters to you and really fires you up? And if not, either the goal might not be the best use of your time this year, or dig a little deeper. See if there's a way that you can connect that goal to something that really does matter to you. I'll give you a brass tacks example. So in our company and most companies in your business, you probably have a sales goal of some sort, right? So you want to reach a certain revenue amount. Money, again, is not the enemy. Social media is not the enemy. But for us, I always look at those revenue goals and I think, how can we bless our team by paying them well? How can we have the resources to make sure that we're getting all these amazing principles out into women's lives? So it goes far beyond a number for us. That makes me want to work hard. That's the point. When you set a goal that is connected to something that matters to you, I'm not just waking up every day to go to a job. I'm thinking, this is going to have an eternal impact. I want to do this every day. I'm willing to sacrifice for this. There you go.
Wow. Okay. So many things I want to jump on here. I mean, the one thing I'm hearing is perspective. It's not about the actual goal itself being good or bad, but it's about the perspective of, what is this really going to accomplish? Is this going to help me to get to where I want to be when I'm 80? Is this going to cultivate a life that I intentionally want to achieve? And how is this going to help other people? When we talk with business owners, it's easy for us, actually, to be really honest, to set a revenue goal. It's easy to put a number on something and say, I've got to hit a revenue goal. I've got to achieve this metric in my business, and that'll be success. But when you take this step back, and I noticed somebody even say, I made goals, but now I've got to rethink them. I've totally got to rethink them. And you ask yourself, what does that revenue goal, like if we want to work the opposite direction, what is that revenue goal actually going to enable me as a business owner to do? Yeah. Is it going to enable me to serve my clients well and to offer something to them, a service, a product, my talents and abilities in a way that's going to impact their life for the better, right? Now we're thinking people focused in that respect to revenue. I love what you mentioned about your team. As you succeed as a business owner, you're able to employ other people. You're able to bring other people onto that team with you. Your success creates opportunities for others. And that is a powerful, powerful thing in entrepreneurship. And so the goal might be to expand your team, but it's not just as simple as I want to add an employee. Thinking beyond that and thinking about how you ultimately through your business can empower somebody else, can lift up somebody else, can help their family and help them to build their legacy and wake up every morning and do something that they love. I love this framework for goal setting because it really gets to the heart of why, not just reaching for the stars, but knowing why you're doing it and knowing how you're going to impact other people. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But it gets me to my own fear with goal setting. This is something I really struggle with personally, and that's follow through. Like
That,
I set these goals, I have these big dreams, my heart's in the right place, I'm fired up, I'm ready to do it. But once I have my goals, Laura, how do I actually follow through on them? Like, how do I ensure that I achieve them?
yeah, so good. This is such an important question because I think all of us have experienced the lack of follow through at some point in our lives, or maybe many points in our lives. So you're all feeling that. You feel like maybe you're afraid to set goals this year, or you're even still feeling a little tense and haven't breathed this entire time in this webinar because, oh man, what if I don't follow through? Or maybe you've messed up before and you feel like, I don't want to try again because the disappointment of falling off the bandwagon is so
Yes.
deep and it just makes you feel guilt. And that's not healthy or helpful, right? So if you're feeling that, yes, okay, y'all have felt this way, yes. Um, I will say this, one is there will never be perfect progress. It doesn't exist. All progress is imperfect progress. And I think I don't know, like who made up this rule or like thought in our brains that progress is going to be perfect. I think we just see people's highlight reels and think, oh, well, that seems like it was really easy for them. So it should be absolutely perfect for me too. No, think about anything that you do in your life right now that you are relatively good at, okay? Or something that you just know how to do, whether that's folding socks or using a camera or mothering a baby or cooking spaghetti. I mean, I'm using these very simple examples because were you always good at that? Were you really, when you first started that, were you always good at that? I'll say, like, my daughter, Grace, is 7, and I'm teaching her little tiny skills in the kitchen these days. So we're learning knife skills, right? Because we didn't come out the womb learning how to use a paring knife. Um, but I say that because we think that it should be all easy for us. We think that we should just be able to snap our fingers and have perfect progress on a goal. You're not going to. So we know that. It's a fact, right, friends? On the same page? Okay. Um, the next thing you need is accountability. This makes me so pumped to talk about because you have one of the very best tools here at your fingertips, and that is this community. Accountability is made up of 2 different parts. The first key component of accountability is knowing where you're going and reminding yourself of where you're going constantly. So, what does this mean in practice? Say you set your goals or you have your yes no list. I want you to put that somewhere you can see it all the time, because your brain, let's talk about your brain. So, your brain, it wants to stay in its comfort zone all the time. Our brains, they seek out pattern, they seek out habit. They would like to continue to do the same thing every morning. They want you to wake up and do the same thing in the morning. They want you to do the next thing that's the same. They seek out pattern and habit. So when you start to shake things up and do things differently, it's physically going to feel difficult for you. So if you're doing that right now, you're thinking, okay, I've just started this new thing. I've been doing it for the last 14 days and it feels hard, Laura. It feels really hard. I want to tell you that's good. That means your brain is starting to change, and you never know if the next step you take, the next step forward on doing that habit is the step that actually makes it really easy for you. So back to the example with my daughter Grace, learning how to ride a bike. It is so hard at first, guys. She gets so frustrated. There have been many times she's like screaming in the driveway, and I'm like, oh, neighbors, I'm so sorry. But she's frustrated, and it just reminds me of myself. Like, I get so frustrated when I start a new goal and I don't follow through, or I feel like I'm not doing it perfectly. But you guys know that she is going to one day get on that bike and she's going to fly. I don't know why I'm getting teary-eyed. That just makes me so excited because that's the same thing with us. It's the same thing with our goals. If we will just little by little, consistently and persistently move ourselves forward, one day we're going to fly. One day it actually is going to be easy. So how are you going to do that? You need to put your goals, put a sticky note. Just grab a sticky note right now and write down where you want to be in the big picture and stick that front and center where you're going to be seeing it all the time, because the alternative is your brain is going to want to do the same old things it's always done, and you're going to get the same results you've always gotten. For me, I have my power sheets out on my desk all the time, so I know what my priorities are. Again, you could have your yes, no list out on your desk all the time, put it on your refrigerator, stick a Post-it note inside your refrigerator. I do that. I have my word of the year everywhere. because I know the fact that my brain's going to want to do the same thing I did last year unless I shake things up. So that's number one. Accountability is number one, making all these reminders around you of telling your brain, hey, brain, we're going in a new direction, and to just accept the fact that it's going to feel hard for a little while. Number two is to surround yourself with encouragement and accountability. And again, you have the best community here at your fingertips. Join a Tuesdays Together group, get together with a meetup group, post throughout this challenge this week. I think you guys are going to be amazed at how many new friends you make. You're going to find people that are like you. Use that Best Goals 2019 hashtag and hop in there and post about every single challenge prompt that we have this week. I think you're going to find a lot of people that are going to be on the same page as you. So number one, use the gift of accountability and keep your goals right in front of you. And number two, surround yourself with accountability and encouragement.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We did get a quick question in the chat. I just want to let people know there will be a replay. So for those of you who are about to run to make dinner, if you're on the East Coast, or some said had buffering issues, don't worry. Don't worry. We will have a replay available for you as well. I love it. So accountability, encouragement, these are things that, again, the encouragement side, I think I've gotten spades. I'm a part of Rising Tide and HoneyBook. There are a ton of people that are always so encouraging. But just to hear some ways for accountability, I agree. I think having it in front of you constantly is a great reminder. After this, tomorrow I'm spending some more time kind of going through my power sheets, and I'm literally taking your advice. I'm getting Post-it notes. It's going on my list of pick up at Rite Aid tomorrow. Yes. And I'm going to put them around my house. I don't know how Huey is going to feel about that, my husband. But, he's going to be really worried. He's like, what happened to my wife? Why are there Post-it notes everywhere? But I can attest to pregnancy brain. It is a real thing. And so I've been taking, I have my little notebook right here. I've been taking notes, and that's been really helpful. But having it in front of you, having it somewhere where every single day you're reminded, of what you're working towards. It is so important. It's so important. Actually, in the HoneyBook office, even we'll have, charts and things on the wall showing us how we're trending towards our goal. When we donated food, we did a big food drive earlier this year, as part of philanthropy month in November. They put the bins right in the front of the office. So every single day when you walked in, you were reminded, we're working towards this goal, and we're trying to hit this, this number of food items donated to families in San Francisco. And it did it and reminded me every day, okay, I should probably grab that extra can and bring it to the office. Or, as I'm shopping, it just kept it at the forefront, kept it top of mind. So I think that is so important. So important. I love it. Okay, so we are nearing the end of our time, but we really want to dive in and answer some of your questions. So for those of you guys who haven't yet asked any questions, and if you have them, go ahead and put them in the Ask a Questions section. I see that we already have 12 in here. Cool. So let me go ahead and open this up. We'll do a Q&A, and then we have some exciting stuff to share with you guys at the very end. So make sure you don't leave us. You won't want to miss that as well. But let's kick it off here with this first question. It has 17 upvotes, so a lot of you resonated with this. And the question is, Lara, how do I reframe the disappointment I feel when life gets in the way of a specific goal, when I can't accomplish the thing I want because my obligations get in the way?
So good. I love that question, Karen. Thank you for asking that. First of all, is to know that all good things grow over time, and it's okay to grow slow. So there was a season of my life when I had just had a baby, and then we adopted our daughter, Sarah, 6 months later. And whether it is a season of transition, having a child, having 2 babies within 6 months, or maybe it is a loss of a job, maybe it is a move, whatever it is for you. Or maybe it's just you had a lot of social things going on. I don't know, whatever it is. There are times in our life that are inevitable seasons of overload. There are just times when, we have the best intentions and things are not going to get done. But like I talked about with my client who did not make perfect progress on his goal, but he did continue to get back up little by little. He did make progress on that goal. And so my advice for you is I'm going to give you practical advice here. If you're into Post-its, like we've been talking about, this should be sponsored by Post-it. If you're into Post-its, get yourself a Post-it or a little sticky note or scrap piece of paper right now and just write down little by little, because that's what you need to do. It's just embrace the power of the little by little. Little by little, a little adds up to a lot. And even if in this season or you're in a time of disappointment or you feel like you said, obligations got in the way, maybe they didn't get in the way. Maybe you will still be able to make really significant progress on that goal if you just keep making those tiny steps forward. Real quick example, I have a really good friend who's a commercial photographer, and he would always tell me about how he would have these really long days where he'd be out on set or doing whatever, and he would end his day, and one of his goals was fitness, physical fitness, so that he could do his job well and love people well. And so he would end his day, it'd be like midnight, and he would look at his list and he'd be like, oh, I didn't have any time to do my workout today. So instead of jumping ship and giving up, you know what he did? He would get down on the floor right before bed and do like 20 sit-ups. Now, that might seem minute at the time, but do you think that that added up over time? Yeah. Yes, that added up over time. So my friend Karen and anybody that voted that up, I just encourage you to keep going and lean into the little by little.
I love that. I love that. I want to add just one thing, and that is also when those moments come up, when whether it's obligation or sometimes like physical limitations. With my surgery, I had crazy, crazy dreams for the end of last year and even for 2018. And I'll be honest, I put the majority of them on the back burner. I had to really scale back on certain things, and I was so hard on myself. I was really, really hard on myself. And, I had a really good friend that just said, you tell everybody else to give themselves grace and you're not giving yourself grace in the process. And knowing that, it's going to be hard and you might have to put something on the back burner, or there might be a goal that you've really wanted to achieve. It's not a no. It might just be a not right now. So even if, you wanted to get something done by a date, remember that those dates can change. And just like Lara said, it's little by little. It might be that you won't get it done by the end of this month, but maybe you need a little more time, or maybe something's going to shift in the process. That's exactly how it was supposed to happen. And I've found that to be true for myself. So I just wanted to share that too.
No, all the truth bombs just happened. That was so good. Yeah.
Love it. All right. We've got some good questions. All right, let's keep going. So next question. Do you recommend having an accountability partner, someone to hold you to your goals, and how much should you share with them?
That's a great question. I think that there's not a one size fits all answer for this. So I think that if you are someone that thrives on having an accountability partner and you feel like that's totally your personality, like you crave connection in that way, sure, do it. I, however, am an introvert and my personality, I feel like I thrive more sometimes on solitude. But I do know that it's really important for me to, and I don't really know another way to say this, but like expose my heart to other people so that they can keep me in check. So I do have I have a great group of friends that we pray together every week, and I've got people at church that hold me accountable to things that they know that are really important to me. So again, not a one size fits all answer to this, but I will give you this encouragement. If you are fearful of reaching out to find an accountability partner, you never know if that other person is going to be the one that needs you more than you need her or him or them. So be the invitation. You never know if that's going to spark a lifelong friendship. We have groups of PowerSheets users. I mean, you guys have so many Tuesdays Together groups that I think are going to be lifelong friends. They already are. So you never know if you just show up to one of those, if you're going to meet your new best friend. So I'd say if you're considering it, if you're asking this question, Wendy, go. Do your thing, girl. You're going to be such a blessing to everybody that meets you.
I love it. That was a perfect answer. And yes to the Tuesdays Together meetups. I think sometimes when we do it in person, it makes it so much better for those of us who are afraid to be vulnerable. Because when you're sitting down face to face with somebody, it tears down a lot of barriers, and it makes us realize how we're all just doing the best we can. And so yes to everything Lara just said. And then the introverts, also an introvert, don't be afraid if just journaling is your own way of accountability or something with solitude, because there's no shame in that either. I love it. So we have another question on accountability. We covered some of that in the webinar. So LaShanta, I'm going to keep moving. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Okay, so a question here. When setting goals, should you prepare for unexpected or unplanned surprises in life? And how should you do that?
That's a very good question, Wendy. I think that that's where the beauty of knowing that our goals grow and change over time comes in, because I don't set a perfect plan for my whole year. I don't, because I know that life is going to grow and change just as I do. And so every month, as I use my power sheets, I refresh. Really, I think, okay, what do I have on my plate right now? The process helps you to walk through. Okay, what are the commitments you already have? What are the responsibilities you already have? So how much more time do I have to take action on these big picture goals? And it helps you to order your priorities. So I think in that way, if you're consistently checking in on where are you in life? How are you feeling? What's going on? And then how can you combine all these things together and not burn yourself out and just take on just enough that's going to work for that month and be realistic? Then I think you don't need to prepare ahead of time for unplanned surprises, because you're always going to have another opportunity to refresh.
I love that answer. I love it. We also have a question here from Renee. So she said, some of us, like me, have a 3-part or more business. Mm-hmm. So our goals are many. I'm sure Lara can relate to this. She's yes. Like a queen entrepreneur. Okay, but we can't hit them all because no partners or helpers have appeared. This is good. How can we accomplish our goals with no real help? Doing it solo.
That is hard. Without knowing too much more about your business, I couldn't give you a specific answer, but I'd say in general, you can't do it all and do it well. Not a whole lot of things grow when you try to do it all. So knowing a lot of what I perceive you're feeling, Renee, having owned many businesses, many of them at the same time, and spreading myself super thin at times, I just know that nothing really good grew out of those times. So again, I don't know what your goals are and I don't know what your business is, but my gut's telling me that just do the things that you know you can do really well and make the best impact with. Even if you know that there are so many good things you could be doing to grow and to flourish and to expand. In our business, we have had, and y'all hear me out on this one, we've had the problem of growing too fast. Mm-hmm. And that is a problem because, and I could explain all the becauses in a whole nother webinar. But I've learned that even if there are great opportunities out there, which we've presented with them all the time, great things that we could be doing, great projects, whatever, I know that we cannot do them all and do them well. So I hope that helps, Renee, because when you have no real help, that's very difficult. But I also say, just a little side point, I'm not sure, why, partners or helpers have not appeared, but to actively seek those is just to make sure you're putting out exactly what you're looking for in those people. No holds barred. Like, what is the exact quality you're looking for in someone that's going to help you to grow, and have your expectations set really high, and you never know who you're going to find.
I love that. I also think one thing that I didn't do early on in my business when I was managing a bunch of different things all at the same time was look at building really efficient systems. So and true. I bring that up obviously because for so many members that use HoneyBook, that has just changed everything, where, they are doing the tasks that can be completely streamlined in an automated workflow, and it happens for them. And so it's not like getting an immediate partner to join your business, but in a way, it kind of is like having, a system that is operating even when you're sleeping, that's doing a lot of the tasks that could be eating up some of your time, and just freeing you up to do all of the things we've talked about, from investing more in your superpower as a creative to spending time with your kids and, teaching your daughter how to ride her bike. And all of those things are so important. And so I do have to say that if you're, trying to juggle 3 jobs, like maybe finding just some systems. HoneyBook's one of many different, avenues and systems and automations in your business that you could try to really streamline things so that you just have this clarity and this peace of mind, and your time when you are investing in your business is as efficient as possible. It's something that changed me. And I was, even before I worked for HoneyBook, I was such a stickler to, everything written, paper checks, going to the bank, doing everything the way I had always done it. And it just blew my mind how much time I had, not wasted in the moment because I didn't know it, but I had lost that could have been automated, could have been streamlined. And, it was like having 3 employees when I got a full workflow system. So I want to say that because I think that might be able to help you as well.
I have to put a plug in for HoneyBook because we have so many partners that use HoneyBook and that send us invoices and things through it. And just listening to you talk just now, I'm thinking, oh yeah, those are they're very solid businesses. A lot of them are solo businesses, like solo business owners. Some of them have just a couple team members, but I always love that experience of getting those. And it helps me to know that they're not spending their time doing that. They're spending their time using their gifts really well. So
that's literally our mission statement. So that's awesome to hear that. Thank you for saying that. Okay, Anna, applause to you for this question here. And Laura, you let me know if we have time for one or two more.
You
You
go
just
for it.
tell me.
It's great.
But this one I can actually relate to. I have more no's than yeses. Sometimes that happens when we take a really hard look at our lives.
Yep.
Is that good or bad? Like, should it be even? Should you have more yeses than no's? Should you have more no's than yeses? What is your take on that?
My take is it's really good because it means you have more opportunity for change and so much more opportunity for good things to happen ahead. So maybe you joined us today and you're thinking, whoa, I have so many things I need to change. Like I need to redo my goals. There's so much that's not going well. Or you think, man, I have so many things that I need to say no to. Don't get down on yourself on that. Look at the opportunity in that. Think to yourself, okay, if I actually did say no to all these things, how am I going to feel at the end of this year? Imagine yourself on December 31st and think to yourself, and I'm looking at my list right now, if I were to little by little over time, knowing I'm not going to be perfect, say no to some of these things, I'm going to have so many more chances for really good change to happen and so much more to tell you about that was good at the end of this year. So it is not a bad thing, and I'm excited for you.
That's awesome. Let's close it out with one last question. And then we have, I think, let me look down here. Yes. So we have some resources to share with everybody at the end as well. So we don't want you guys to miss that. So don't leave just yet. Trust me on that one. But let's close it out with this question from Adriana. She says, and I can relate to this. I really, really can. A goal of mine is to talk more on my Instagram story because I know that it will be good for my business, because it will help people to get to know me. But I'm scared people won't care to listen. How do you suggest I get past this fear?
What if you help someone, Adriana? Like, I'm going to ask the other side of the question is, what if they do care? What if the thing you said is the thing that changes that one person? And I 100% know how you feel, because there have been so many times where I've started a project or started something and I think nobody's going to listen to this. I just started my own podcast, and I still have like butterflies thinking about recording, but I'm so glad I did it. And the reason I did it, so to help you get through this, the reason I did it is I stopped myself and I said, no, I'm not going to let this fear of what other people think of me get me off track here. Why am I doing this? It's just like we talked about with goals. When you look at the big picture, what is the reason that you want to talk to people on Instagram stories? Because I love what you shared. You said, I know that it is good for my business because it'll help people get to know me. That's a really good thing. So imagine to yourself the positive possibilities if you were to step into that thing. This is a really big example, so I hope this sounds okay, but writing that book right there, make it happen. I cried so much writing that book. I felt so much fear. When I say so much fear, I mean months and months of anxiety and sitting at the computer, like literally with my head on the table. And I think I even almost emailed my editor one day and said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I just can't. This is too much for me. It's not going to be perfect. Nobody's going to read this. But what kept me going is thinking, if I just affect one person's life, just one, and I started to think about her, I kind of like made up this person in my head, and I thought, if I could just help her not to go through challenges in her marriage, for instance, and think that it's impossible for anything to change, will it be worth it for me to sit here and go through this mess of facing my fears every day at the keyboard and feeling like someone's going to judge me for my story? Yes, it's worth it. And so I kept going, and I'm so grateful that I did. So Adriana, I'm excited to see you on Instagram stories. And I hope that all of us will, like we do in this challenge and like you guys do in this community, join together to encourage her when she does.
Oh my goodness. I wish I could just take everything you said and replay it to myself over and over, because this is something I actually tell our Rising Tide leaders. Any of them that are watching this know every single month. We talk about Tuesdays together, and everyone just assumes, oh, it's like it exists. But these are human beings hosting these meetups, and they are nervous, just like you, to show up. And they're nervous to lead, and they're nervous about, how many people are going to show up, and, is everything going to work the way they planned it? And I always tell them, I say the job isn't, to go in there and have a big, massive group and get the perfect group photo and have everybody, having the best time that they could possibly have. It is to go in and impact one person.
Just one.
Just one person. And if you do that, in your business, if you do that in your family, if you do that, as a Tuesdays Together leader or an attendee or a member of this community, you impact one other person for the better. That is an incredible job well done. It isn't about all the flashy things at the end of the day. It's about that one person. So it just hit me when you said that. I actually got a little teary-eyed, and I'm going to blame it on the hormones.
You have full license to do that.
But that's precisely what I always tell our leaders every single month, to keep, their eye on what matters, and to keep all of us focused on what matters and is impacting others. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
This is that I can't help but think about my friends, Tawana and Mike, my friends from church, and they started a Bible study, and it just makes me think of Tuesdays Together. Like maybe you started one and 2 people showed up, or nobody showed up, and you're thinking, well, that was a failure because I only had like 2 people and they had like 50 people. Tawana and Mike, they did this Bible study at this university that's near us here for 2 years. 2 years, people, and nobody showed up for 2 years until the end of the 2nd year, when this guy named Lamar shows up. And he has now become like a leader in the youth ministry at our church. So wow. Was it worth it for them to go through those 2 years? 100% worth it. And I encourage you to. I know, right? So crazy. You never know what's going to happen just by sinking into the power of one.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This was incredible. And I know we want to send it. We do this every week. This should be our weekly way of kicking off the week. Yeah. And we also do all want you to write our goals out for us. So you've got a little bit of homework there, Laura.
Oh, boyfriends. I've got a lot of pens. Try that.
I love it. But we do have just some great resources for everybody that we definitely want to share. So I definitely want to encourage everybody. And we talked about Tuesdays Together meetings. That is a part of the Rising Tide and HoneyBook community. They're totally free to attend. I know the link was posted, but if you head over to honeybook.com/risingtide, you can access all of our resources and find a map where there is very likely a chapter near you. They're led by amazing entrepreneurs who want to see their communities change and believe in our vision for community over competition. And so I just want to get you guys plugged in. I also want to offer you, HoneyBook is an amazing tool, and it is everything that fosters this incredible community. And so if you're thinking about getting a workflow system, if you're thinking about changing your business for the better to get your life back, I want to recommend HoneyBook to you. And we are offering through this webinar 50% off your first year with the code Mission Driven, all one word, Mission Driven. I highly recommend, signing up for a free trial, testing it out for your business, and just, you can personally ping me, DM me on Instagram if you have questions about the product. I can't speak, more highly than I do about this company and all that they do to support Rising Tide in the community. So definitely want to give that a plug too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to Natalie. Can we give her all like a virtual round of applause? Because she is such a huge-hearted, amazing leader. And I think that that's a rare thing. So if you guys don't already encourage her a lot, you should, because this is rare. And she's awesome. And I love you very much. So something I want to share with you guys is we have an incredible tool called the Power Sheets Goal Planner. We've mentioned it a bunch today. And we have the largest discount we've ever offered for you guys. And I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped about this. So the discount code is in the PDF that you guys got. We're also going to pop it in the comments in a second here too, but you can get 30% off. And y'all, let me just pause. I'm not going to talk anymore about our product because look at the love. Look at the love.
Oh.
Amazing. It's well-deserved. But 30% off your Power Sheets Goal Planner. And we only have a few left of some of these colors. So I'm going to show you some of them. We have the pink and the yellow and the teal, and we have a white one too. But it is not too late for you to start setting really good goals, and the Power Sheets help you to do this throughout the year so that you can follow through. So you can get 30% off your purchase of the Power Sheets. And we have so many Power Sheets friends in here with the code CWM, which stands for Cultivate What Matters, times CWM X RTS. I know, guys, right? 30% off is pretty great, but the code ends on the 31st. So hop to it.
I love it. I have the teal and the blue, and it is amazing. I'm not kidding. I am someone that loves to actually write things down physically, because that's mine. Yeah, once I physically write it down, it's transformational. It's one thing to say it out loud, what I want to do, or, how I want to accomplish something, but it's another thing to walk through power sheets. It's a full process. It helps you to tackle some of the things we touched on today in such a tangible way and actually commit. Like writing things down makes you commit. So I can't speak highly enough about Power Sheets. And this is a crazy discount. I still can't believe y'all are extending this to the community. So thank you. Thank you so much. And Lara, thank you not only for supporting the community today with your wisdom and everything that you bring, but you have been a longtime supporter of Rising Tide and just somebody that continues to give of your expertise, your heart, and your knowledge. And so just as you said, to have everyone thank me, I want to thank you on behalf of this entire community, all of our leaders and everybody at HoneyBook. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you for using your gifts to truly change the world, because you've changed my life. You've changed so many people through our online summit many, many years ago. And yet again today, and you just give, you constantly give. So thank you for being who you are. It was such an honor to do this today with you. And I can't wait to see everybody sharing their goals on the Instagram challenge throughout the rest of the week.
You guys are awesome. You're so awesome. Seriously. And you guys all that have been here with us today, I feel the love in this community so much. I want to give you one last piece of encouragement, and that is there's nothing magical about January 1st. Y'all hear me? There's nothing magical about January 1st. Today is the very best day to get started on whatever it is that matters to you. You don't need to even have the perfect tool to do that. Just get started. There's nothing magical about January 1st.
I love it. Oh, so good. So good for the soul. Thank you so much, Lara, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there with us. That was amazing. And we will be looking forward to all of your awesome content throughout the week.
Bye, friends.
Bye, everybody.